Pando killed the beat.
I don't know who, somebody need to hear this. Y'all don't speak Hebrew, that's Yiddish. How the fuck you try to label us anti-Semitic? We the Israelites, blacks, native Hispanics. The Germans get locked up for the Holocaust. Meanwhile, black people still up in the Holocaust. 100 million of us died in the transatlantic. 6 million died. Y'all want the world to never forget it. You can never be a Jew. You a Ashkenaz. This ain't a star dum-dum. My gun die or die. Yeah, Yeezy told the truth and got ostracized. Not one person in the Bible had on the yarmulke. We was slaves in America like we was in Egypt. Y'all don't even fit the curses in the Torah neither. Y'all was blind to the truth. I had to make it clear how Jerusalem, your land, your people came from Europe. That was 1947. Your menorah got 9 sticks. It's really only 7. Yeah, it's us against the world. Armageddon. This what happened when you inherit lies from your ancestors. Y'all the synagogue of Satan with them black hats. Your whole nation sitting ducks, Aflacs, bunch of thieves and culture vultures, ain't nothing kosher. To tell the truth, you vagabonds don't have a culture. Macedonia, Alexander and Philip, you a convert, so tell me, how the fuck is you Israel? That don't make you the people just cause you litter. Why my people can't hate your people like y'all hate Hitler? All the prophets was black and was called nigga. Y'all don't even fit the description that's in the scriptures. Abraham, all the way down to Jacob, we the real Jews. Y'all don't study Christ, y'all follow the Talmud. Keep it real, yeah, let's keep it real. Cold hard truth, it give you chills. Say y'all Jewish cause y'all ain't really them. About to do them like Hammond, it's the Feast of Purim. You BK undefeated, this an easy win. We was born fighting, y'all the evil twin. Jacob took hold of his heel, then out came his little red bass and they kosher deals. It's only 12 tribes, y'all trying to make it 13. Esau despised his birthright, the Lord cursed him. He ain't the devil who is, I'm still searching. Ask your rabbi, why he give them babies herpes? I don't know what's worse, that or you claiming that you a Maccabee. I'm about to cancel, everybody trying to cancel ye. I ain't afraid to speak, that's what I do. They riding to the core, I'm just judging them by their fruit. Cause they ain't suffering curses. If I was carnal, I promise I'd punch you in person. I know that's an uncomfortable subject. They making millions off our culture and black people suffering from it. Yeah, they don't believe in Christ. They the Antichrist. Make a living off of niggas. They're a parasite. I ain't afraid to tell the truth. Niggas terrified. I'm about to go DEFCON 4. I ain't satisfied.
That is proof. That is absolute proof that they know we are the real Jews. That's absolute proof. Now you got the records. Go find me a white Jew on any archaeology in Egypt anywhere. You will never find a piece of archaeology with white people as slaves in Egypt. So don't tell me that they were slaves and it's their identity, and they know it. And I know black the Lord knows the blasphemy of you so-called white people that say you are Jews and you are not Jews. You are not the people of the law. You are not God's chosen people. God's chosen people are living in the ghettos of America. God's chosen people are in poverty and depression in the streets of America. God's chosen people are walking around in America with no identity. That's where God's chosen people are.
Hey, I don't give a lovely fuck about what them bitches gotta say. I'm a woman West nigga till they put me in the grave. I don't give a lovely fuck about what them niggas gotta say. I'm a woman West nigga till they put me in the grave. I don't care about what they say. Hey. Fuck with my Akima, fuck with my sisters, then I got a problem, I'm never gonna miss you. I got 100 hanging out the AR, I got a 50 hanging out the pistol. He say it's corner, I'm just being realistic. I be on them corner posted with the realest. If it's the Sabbath, then we going fishing. I'm reeling them in, that's a God-given mission. I'm really on 10, but I'm stamped in the pistol. I get the order, be glad at this mission. Hebrew Academy graduate, nigga. Training, go through the baddest conditions. I don't fuck with none but the baddest of bitches. She righteous, submissive, she glad to be with me. Had that thing Putin like Batman, niggas. She know I'm a prophet, she gotta be listening. Disrespect, I ain't having that shit. Tell her go make some business from scratch. She bitching the different breed of black men. We don't do the back bend. I remember back when I was really trapping, trying to get the racks in, selling dope to black men. But now I'm trying to make it straight. Like, forget about my face. We standing up straight, can't fold us. Too heavy, the world won't hold us. Go use some rank, I told you. Line up in these ranks, we soldier. You can take that to the bank, we focus. Oh, how many times must we remind you? One body, one way, one way, I will never take up the place. When the law with your ain't no up next, it's just us, nigga, that's that on that. All that weak shit, that ain't no threat. Say you won't beat, bitch, with that ain't no sweat. We with all that, we with all that. Lord called a nigga out the world, I responded and called back. Oh Lord, and everything that they stole from us, fuck the shit, we want all that. Them niggas snitching and they act like bitches. That's why we unaffiliated with them. They killing women and they fuck with sisters. That's why we unaffiliated with them. They telling lies, switching up the doctrine. That's why we unaffiliated with them. They ain't gon' ride until they die, so that's why we unaffiliated with them. From under command and general, your honor, we unaffiliated with them. Like they tongue and they say they keep that shit 100, we unaffiliated with them. They telling lies, switching up the doctrine. That's why we unaffiliated with them. They ain't gon' ride until they die, so that's why we unaffiliated with them. That's why we unaffiliated with them. I cannot fuck around with fake niggas. We taking ground when we in your city. You better have the women, have the liquor. Keep that bitch on me, please don't but the same. Don't be a fool and be another victim. Say you a goon, you just another Christian. How you my brother, you ain't in it with me. In the gutter, deep down in the trenches. We with them niggas locked up in the prison. Fucking Hispanic, Native American, Indian. We ain't just talking shit, but we living in it. We be everywhere, you can't miss it. And we be fresh as hell, take a picture. And we be professional with the scriptures. Play, we gon' script them, yeah, we some killers. These niggas tripping, they mind blown. But really forgive me if I'm wrong. I don't get it pause when niggas say that they be looking for niggas to slide on the slide that I know about this when I assemble the gun with the slide for real. I get the order, you know that it's long. See me and my niggas gon' die for real. The bigger the better for kingdom of heaven. You niggas get wet up by niggas, I'm fed up. I rep UPK. My niggas won't let up. Got choppers, got nines, AKs, Berettas. You say you don't like me, you say you won't fight with me and my nigga like bitch or whatever. You say you don't like me, you say you won't fight with me and my nigga like them niggas snitching and they act like bitches. That's why we unaffiliated with them. They killing women and they fuck with sisters. That's why we unaffiliated with them. They telling lies, switching up the doctrine. That's why we unaffiliated with them. They ain't gon' ride until they die, so that's why we unaffiliated with them. From under command and general, your honor, we unaffiliated with them. Like they tongue and they say they keep that shit 100, we unaffiliated with them. They telling lies, switching up the doctrine. That's why we unaffiliated with them. They ain't gon' ride until they die, so that's why we unaffiliated with them. Yeah. See, they always ask us like, why y'all fuck with such and such? Why y'all won't come together with such and such? I be like, we unaffiliated with them. Understand me? Like, niggas be out here on some weirdo shit. And to be honest, that's why we unaffiliated with them. Hey. That's why we unaffiliated with them. Yeah. Oh.
Yeah. Cold shit.
I ain't come with goons, but I'm well connected. Walk in the room, it's pop, 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 like you got rejected. Let me see if you qualify or not. Spinning up in a tinted truck, riding around your block. Busy man. I get a word, yeah, this shit from top to bottom like a motherfucking ceiling fan. Hopping out the rental van, on my way to LAX. Brothers out in Cali, yeah, they killers out of every set. But I ain't crippin' on no blood. One West, all my niggas got it out the mud. Put your face on a t-shirt, memory of niggas acting tough in them songs, that's the drugs. I don't need no cases, all my pistols clean. So now I weigh my options. Used to use the triple beam. Used to get the wop, mix it with the nicotine. Now I travel state to state and put on for my team.
The fuck wrong with them?
Shalom Israel. We are the ISUPK out of 1 West 125th Street, New York, under commanding General Hannah. I'm Priest and Officer your card. Tonight, holding it down for today's Brotherhood class. And tonight, we're going to just go in a little bit in understanding, you understand, what is necessary in the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian community. Because there is something that is that is trying to squeeze and trying to destroy and trying to break Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian men. Right? So the title tonight is Strong Black Men Build Strong Black Communities. Understand? Which is extremely important. If you do have strong communities, then everything else fall apart. But to have strong communities, you gotta have strong men first. If the men are not strong, then it leaves everything else open up. Understand? For the wolves to come and grab and do all what they want. Understand? But if we leave our families open, understand, then there will be the issues coming up where persons will infiltrate and they will come in and steal, kill, and destroy Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. Slack, yeah? Bobby. What's up, Bobby? When you're here? Yeah. Yeah, no sweat. Yeah, no sweat.
Off. Off or on?
Both of them.
All right, go on.
That's what I've been seeing constantly in the news, in the headlines, not just in Trinidad here, but all over the planet, where Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians are. We're seeing some very, very common issues.
Right.
And one of the most common things that they will do in the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian community, one of the first major things that they do is to target the men. They look for the strongest, male figures in a community. And then they work to either destroy them or they work to consume them. And the consuming comes in the way of, allowing them to jeopardize and allowing them to follow, you understand, the laws, customs of these other nations, and to basically set out the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian communities. So those who can't bribe, the rest they will destroy. And that is a pattern that we see. And if you look at it, when you look at slavery, you understand, when they were trying to break the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man, they would usually do that in such a heinous way so that other Black men, other Hispanic, and other Native Indian men would see, you understand, the destruction of a strong Black man, and then they will say, nah, I don't want to happen to me. And what makes it even worse is that they will do that in front of the entire community. So now, other men seeing it, their wives seeing it, and the children seeing it. That is why it's very telling when you see they're trying to emasculate and trying to destroy a Black, Hispanic man, Native Indian man in public. Because it's like a public ridicule or a public lynching at this point, right? Where they will try to humiliate and try to denigrate a Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man. Anyone who would believe that has some kind of influence, once they cannot buy you out or get you in some kind of lust where they can blackmail you and have you in a position where you have to bow and succumb to their bidding. So tonight you got to understand what does it take to build a strong Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian community, and these things that are very necessary to do that, because it's not easy to do that by all means, but it is easy to do. The reason being is because there's already a blueprint to build a strong Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian community. But when you look at our records, our scriptures, you understand, we have the rules and stuff necessary. We have the wisdom necessary. And we have the Spirit of the Lord that is there. And one of the most important things to help build a Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian community is brotherhood.
Right.
That is the single most powerful thing to build any community. When you look at it, this is not just for so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian communities. When you look at even at all those other nations, when they want to conquer another nation, one thing they themselves must have intact is their own brotherhood. You understand? in order to achieve a particular goal. But they don't have that kind of brotherhood that is necessary to rule the planet effectively.
Right.
They just do that to use for destruction, for greed, for malice. You understand? And they use these things to destroy the planet, not to build it. And we're going to see tonight where we're going to understand how Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians need to operate in order to be able to conquer this planet. And all they need to conquer this planet is strong Black communities.
Right.
So, what are the first things we're going to do is to understand what needs to be done first. And to understand what needs to be done, one of the first things we need to do is gather together. And that scripture in Zephaniah 2:1 is a very classical and very pivotal scripture that is extremely important for Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, right? So when the Bible question get to Zephaniah 2:1, we'll start up there and get into what it takes to build a strong Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian community. Bible question.
This is the book of Zephaniah, chapter 2 and verse 1. Gather yourselves together. Yea, gather together, O nation, not desire.
And that is one of the key things that the Most High, key instruction that the Most High gave us as Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. That we have to what? Gather ourselves together.
Right.
O nation, not desire. Now, this is the Most High speaking to the children of Israel, letting them know, letting us know that we are not desired by the other nations. But the problem is, we believe that we are desired by the other nations. And how we know that? Just by the way that we conduct ourselves among these nations and what we do for the nations. That is all. Because once you see how the way a Black, Hispanic, Native Indian man would treat his own brother as compared to somebody who of another nation,
Right.
sometimes it's extremely shocking, as we would say. You understand? But the reason why that is not just so. That was something that was systematically put into the psyche of Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. That is why I was speaking a little bit earlier about, the denigration and the destruction of the psychology and the mindset of the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man, where they would try to destroy any strong Black man within a community. And if they can't physically destroy him, then they would psychologically destroy him. And once they could get that blueprint, then they use that same thing over, and over. But the Most High gave us that order to what? Gather ourselves together. That is the important thing.
Right.
Once we do that, that is the starting and building block to building a proper Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian communities. The problem is we separated. Separated in Rasta, Muslim, Christianity, Egyptology, and everything else under the sun. Everything else except what is necessary, which is common to the God of the Bible.
Right.
Common and being and understanding that you are a Black God. That white image in your mind of Caesar Borgia, no, that's not it. That is not it.
Right.
And because we are consumed by white supremacy in our mind, because a lot of people don't understand, you can be quote unquote Black and be a white supremacist. Now, a lot of people don't understand. And how you can become that? By following and accepting the ideologies of white supremacy. There are some people that hate their brother, hate him because of white supremacy. It has been so ingrained into themselves and into our psyche, is that they believe than the white, mentally. But really and truly, you understand? You're not that. That have a whole saying with the say Uncle Tom nigga. Yeah, go ahead.
This is the foundation. The foundation is being laid for that, like Christian church.
That's right.
Yeah.
Absolutely right. And that is where what we call the indoctrination of Black, Hispanic, and Native Indians. Because they're using white supremacy in Christianity, which is Christianity, and then they use that now to put that white image into the Black mind.
Right.
And by them doing that, they made the perfect slave. That's it. All them want you to be is an Oreo. Black on the outside, and you have white cream on the inside.
Right.
But at your core, you are thinking, operating, and being like the oppressor. When you look at our Christian pastors, you feel them love our people. You feel they love their own. Let me make it more simple. You feel they love the family. If you are a Christian pastor, you hate your family.
Right.
You hate your brothers. You hate your community. And you hate yourself. Because the mere fact that you can accept that and accept that ideology of white supremacy, white supremacy that systematically destroyed your entire nation, and you loving and begging and pleading with a God of another nation who enslaved and destroyed your people. I madness. I psychosis. But you cannot be, you understand, happy to worship a man who is actively destroying you. And that's what white supremacy does.
Right.
That is what the Christian churches do. Now, for those who are listening, you have to understand context, right? We here in the ISUPK under commanding General Yohana, we believe everything in the Bible. And you know why we believe it? Because we understand it. Your Christian pastor does not believe in the Bible. And we understand why he doesn't believe in the Bible, because he does not understand it. Because it was not for him to understand in that context. Because when you have a thief teaching you your own history, obviously it will not be correct.
Right.
It will never be correct. Because a white man cannot teach a Chinese how to be a Chinese. Only a Chinese could. And an East Indian man cannot tell an African how to be an African. Only an African can do that. It's the same way how a man who is a Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man, who are from the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel, who are one of the sons of Yasharallah, the sons of Israel, only an Israelite can teach a man to be an Israelite. Only an Israelite can teach another Israelite. It can't happen. A mechanic can't teach somebody, can't teach a guitarist. You understand? His field is mechanics. If he come in to show you the chord on a guitar, that don't make sense. A dog cannot teach a cat to be a cat. And these are the kind of things that we are doing in the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian community by what? Introducing what? Christianity, again, Egyptology, Islam, and all these other garbage religions, trying to teach the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man about himself, and they have nothing. They don't have a clue how to do it. That is the reason why we are destroyed as a community. And only strong Black men can raise strong black communities. You know why? Because they are the ones to teach the community, to teach their wives, to teach their children how to be. And if they do not do that, then somebody else will, by default. And this is what we need to understand. Once we understand what needs to be done, then we'll be able to move forward. So the first thing as a Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man is that you need to develop yourself. If you want a nation to be strong, you be strong. And when you are strong, what you have to do? Teach another man to be strong. And when that man learns to be strong, teach another Black man to be strong. Teach your sons to be strong. Teach your daughters to be strong. Teach your wives to be strong. Because weakness is an infectious disease. Very infectious, easy, like the cold, like coronavirus. Once you get it, that is it. Rolling in on you. Right. But you know what's also infectious? Strength. When you have strong Black men in a community, guess what? It will encourage other men to be strong, young men to be strong, and not be carried away by every little loss, every little trinket, every little thing that our oppressor tried to put in front of us. And these are the things we have to understand. Right. So for our community to be great, we had to have what? Good leaders. But in order to be a good leader, you need to be a good man. You need to be a great man. You need to be a righteous man. You need to be a violent man. Because the way the world sees good men is not in the right spirit. A good man is a violent man who can be able to control himself. That is a great man. He is capable of protecting and capable of building his community. And he is strong enough to defend it. Because believe you me, men will come to try to take it. Men will come to try to infiltrate it. You know why? Because they want what you have. They know where to spring. How many times has Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian communities have been destroyed? I mean, we just always talk about this. You understand? Just the other day, we'll be talking about it. The Professor Tazoan of Samakakaba, I think, during this Sabbath service day, talking about Black Wall Street, right? And talking about how to be strong. How many times have Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian communities, strong communities, have been destroyed by these other nations? Because when they see the strength and the camaraderie and the ability for us to come together as a unit, the Black man and the Black woman with the Black child, that is a devastating thing for these other nations to see. Because when they see strong families, they know that their days are numbered. When I say their days are numbered, it's because they will not be able to take advantage of us. That is all. Because this thing is a Game of Thrones. Who can manipulate, lie, steal to be on top? And their ideology of being on top is destroying another man. The problem with that is that these ideologies come into the Black community. When these ideologies come into the Black community via Christianity and every other religion, guess what happened? We start to do it to our own people. So instead of going to the root cause of the problem, what you're doing now, you're backbiting your brother, you're stealing from him, you're lying, you're coveting all his stuff. You understand? You have no mercy, no empathy. And that is the sickness that pervades the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian community. These are things that are learned behaviors. These are things from trauma. These are things that come through the abuse of our community. And these are the things that the Christian church teach. And I'll give you some good examples. A man and his wife is together. They decide to go to church to change their life, quote unquote. Now, according to Christianity, according to white supremacy, a man has to have a ring on your finger. You understand? Now, when they go in the church, they will say, well, you ain't married to the man, so they can't be together. But this man and this woman have been together for how much years? And not only that, once a man, according to the law, according to this Bible, once a man has sex with a woman, that is his wife. So whatever the Christian church trying to say,
Right.
that if you don't have a ring on your finger, which is something that is very, that is not our culture in the first place. And it's something even more recent, that is a Roman custom.
Right.
That's a heathenistic custom to put a ring on finger and quote unquote tying the knot. That's a pagan ritual. But now, Christianity, the Christian pastor will tell you, well, sister, you know, well, the man is married to you, and he ain't a ring on the finger, or to keep a wedding. And if a little married, you know, that is a sin in his sight ago. So this Christian pastor is destroying a family because of Christianity, the lies of Christianity, and causing this woman now to leave her husband and commit adultery. You know why? When that marriage, quote unquote, break up, she go with another man who say he go put a ring on the finger. And that is how, what is just one of the ways that the Christian church destroy families. By their lies and their deception. And that is what happened. That's just one example. And we look through all the different aspects of Christianity. We're telling, okay, it's okay to eat pork, crab, lobster, and shrimp. Causing the destruction of Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian communities. Is not just a sin against the Most High. The Most High told us that for a reason. For a spiritual reason and for a biological reason. And the scripture says the God is the God of the living, right? Not the dead. And when you eat these things what? Put toxins in your body and destroy your body. And when it destroys your body, guess what? It in turn destroys your spirit. Destroying your spirit by making you not be able to function in full capacity as you should. Because when you have gout, sugar, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, from eating these things, your body is being destroyed. You will not be at your best.
Right.
To serve the Most High in whatever way He sees fit. That is why the Most High tells us, do not eat these things. But now your Christian pastor telling you, yeah, well, the law is done away with. You know, all things good to eat. You see what you tell Peter, kill and eat? The gross misinterpretation of these scriptures showing you that your Christian pastor is a liar. Right, he is unbrotherly. And he is against the Most High. And to make it even more plain, he is a weak man. Weak. So weak that he does not want to understand this Bible. That he rather to placate for his father, the devil, so-called white man, to get what? Crumbs. So, you know, I Reverend so-and-so, Pastor Deacon so-and-so.
Right.
And these are the men that come and infiltrate the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian community. These are the men who come and say, well, it's okay, you know, to have an abortion. You know, your body, your choice. And these are the kind of hypocrisies that are in the Christian church.
Right.
These are the men who will come and tell your wives, well, you know, you had to serve God and you know, you had to come in the church and let the woman see about your husband. You had this woman spending a whole day in the church, bawling and screaming and looking for attention from you. And your husband with home, with the house undone, the children undone, and you sowing seeds of discord in she. That when she come home now, she questioning everything this man said. Well, why ain't be like Pastor so-and-so? Well, Pastor so-and-so, let's say, you know, in order to treat your wife, you know, you have to, you know, love your wife. I ain't see it. You didn't tell me you love me this morning. Bullshit. Pardon my French. And these are the kind of things that infiltrate into the Black, Hispanic, and Native American community.
Right.
Like these weak men teaching weak women and other weak men them kind of philosophy. And this is why in the ISUPK under Commanding General Yohana, that is why we are here. We are here to destroy weak men. And how we destroy weak men? By following these scriptures.
Right.
That is how we do it. By understanding and keeping the laws of the Most High. Because only until you do that, then you'll get to understand how to build strong families. And we build strong families by building strong men first. And these strong men will teach their sons to be strong. And then we will in turn have strong Black, Hispanic, Native Indian communities. We're going to dive into scriptures and look at some key areas that we had to learn to understand.
Right.
How to build strong Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian communities. Right? So we will jump to this scripture, which is John chapter 11. Sorry, John chapter 10. Chapter 1, verse 11.
Okay. This is the book of John, chapter 10 and verse 11. I am the good shepherd.
I am the what?
The good shepherd. The good shepherd giveth his life for the sheep.
Good shepherd giveth his life for the sheep. Now, this is our King Yahushua speaking to the disciples and showing them the kind of sacrifice that you have to make. That is the kind of sacrifice you have to make. Now, you have to understand. Read it over one more time, Babu.
Yeah, come. This is the book of John, chapter 10 and verse 11. I am the good shepherd.
Mm-hmm.
The good shepherd giveth his life for the sheep.
That I am the good shepherd, and the good shepherd giveth his life for the sheep. Now, for all those who just thinking straight carnal, this is not talking about a man just take a bullet. A man will just say, no, you jump on mother can't die for your family. No. This is talking about a man sacrificing himself to ensure that his family is on the right path. You know what I mean? That means people will hate you for that. I want to say people will hate you for that is because the things that you will do and be willing to do to keep your family and your community and your brethren on the right path, some persons may not like you for that. Because you know what that entails? Correction.
Right.
That entails discipline. That entails mercy and compassion. Because those things are not always nice things to do. Because when you're correcting somebody, guess what happens? 99% of the times, the person will not like the correction. And most of the times, they will not like you for it. Until they themselves reach that point of understanding that, hey, this is not right. This what I do here was not right. And I deserve this. Anybody who have children, who have kids, or cousins, or nieces and nephews who have raised children will understand that. Because sometimes when you go to discipline a child, the child doesn't like that discipline.
Right.
You can't have no more candy. No, no more. They will kick up, make a fuss, cry, all kind of stuff. No, you cannot get no more toys. I'm not buying no more toys for you. You had to relax. They will be upset because why? They can't get a toy to play with. And these are sometimes some of the things you have to understand. When you are a leader, or as the book says, a good shepherd, you have to be able to endure hardship, endure a lot of things that are necessary. That we're talking about giving your life for the sheep. Because when a man goes out to work and goes in the most dangerous places you could ever imagine, and slave for the entire day, 8, 9, 10, 12 hours, sometimes 16 hours. You go out there and you do all kind of electrical, masonry, plumbing, welding, operation, flush up operation, go offshore them rigs, right. Drilling, you name it. Doing police work, army work, you name it. Men are going out there to do what? To sacrifice themselves for their families. Because 99% of the times, he's not doing it for himself. A man is not going to go out there and do those kind of things just for himself. Right. Because what he's thinking about is the future of his family, the future of his community. Right. And these are the things that you have to understand as necessary to build strong Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian community, is that you have strong Black men willing to what? Sacrifice themselves. Not kill themselves, but sacrifice themselves in order to build up. You know what that means? That means you wouldn't have that would mean you have to not sell drugs in your community. That would mean you have to expose drug dealers, pedophiles, rapists, and all these thieves that are in the community. This means you have to stand up to those who would come to destroy the culture of the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian communities. And those type of fights are not normal fights. Those type of sacrifices are not regular sacrifices. Because to come up against and combat white supremacy, that is sacrifice. To come up and battle against Christianity, that is sacrifice. That is giving your life for the sheep. Because when you had to combat the lies of Christianity, a man could only have one wife. All these things is to combat the lie, the deception of Christianity. Right. Virgin births. Again, you can only eat anything you want. All these things come to seep into the community. And if we don't stand up against it, then we'll be in problems. So drop that, and if you could give me 1 Corinthians chapter 9. Right. Sorry, 6 and 9. 1 Corinthians 6 and 9. 6 and 9.
This is the book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 6 and verse 9. Know ye not that the unrighteous shall not inherit the kingdom of the Most High?
Know it what? We talk about Babokisha?
Know ye not that the unrighteous shall not inherit the kingdom of God? Be not deceived. Neither fornicators, nor idolaters, nor adulterers, nor effeminate, nor abusers of themselves with mankind.
Right, let me stop there. We will start to go down the list. Because if we are to build strong Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian communities, and to be strong Black men, you see these things that are listed here, you cannot even smell that on you.
Right.
These things bring weaknesses in the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian communities. We cannot have these kind of things in our spirit. We cannot associate ourselves with persons who have this type of spirit. Because if you do, chances are you will start to pick it up. And that will be the beginning of the end. And if you do have these things in here, quickly, with the quickness, get that out of your system.
Right.
And that is what we do in the ISUPK and the Commanding General Yahan. Is that when men come in here and they have any ounce of these kind of traits, guess what will happen? It will get flushed out. And it will get flushed out in one way or the other, where it will be system, quote unquote, will purge you out, or you have to fight those demons,
right,
to get that out of the system. Right. And the only way to get those things out of your system, the only way to become a better man, the only way to become a strong black man is brotherhood. Because only brotherhood could drive these things out of a man.
Right.
There's nothing else. And that brotherhood comes from the love of the Most High. If you say you love God, then you will have to ensure that the man next to you do have these things and do have these qualities. Because you wouldn't, if you say you love God and you love your brother, you will ensure that these things are not in him. And for him to be strong, to not allow these things to come around and infiltrate him. So this is where we have to understand what needs to be done in the Black, Hispanic, and Indian community. You understand? So let me start back from the top of verse 9 again, and we'll go through each one of them as best as we could. For us to get a better idea how to be able, not just to deal with it, but the kind of things that are not supposed to be in us as Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian.
Right. This is the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 6 and verse 9.
Mm-hmm.
Know ye not that the unrighteous,
that the what?
That the unrighteous.
That the unrighteous. So now this is a blueprint, right? That if you are in this frame of mind or doing these things, you are an unrighteous man. So if these qualities are in you, you have to get rid of these things quick. Purge them out, rip it out. Get close to somebody who will keep you accountable to ensure that these things do not sit in the system. Know ye not that the unrighteous shall not inherit the kingdom of the Most High? And that is the place or where the men are of the Most High. You cannot be around among righteous men and have these in you. It's a stench.
Right.
It's a stench to be around righteous men and have these quote unquote issues and qualities in you. And righteous men will sniff for that quick. And they will do the brotherly thing and tell you about it. Talk to you about it. Chastise you about it. Help clean you up for you to be a righteous man. Just as them. They will not condone it. And they are good men. You know why? Because they are violent men. And they are violent men who understand how to control themselves. Because they understand how to build, how to develop, and how to be and how to protect the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian community. Because in order to protect that community, you have to be a dangerous man. And the kind of weakness is seen outside here. And that's what the society wants. They want us to be weak. They do not want us to be dangerous black men. And dangerous black men is not talking about you violently attacking somebody. It's you being able to defend your community and not allow these other nations, these other philosophies, these how should I put it? These ideologies to infiltrate into the Black, Hispanic, and Native American community. Right. Because we have to be aggressive in getting these things out. Because if you pander and you allow, and you make room, that is where the problem starts to come. Because once you allow, as we just say, an inch, they will take a yard. That is the proverbial saying they say. On these ends sometimes. So continue, Baba Kusha. Come.
Be not deceived, neither fornicators.
Neither fornicator. Understand? So a fornicator is someone who does. A fornicator is somebody who does something against the law. Most cases, it would be some type of sexual law, or it would be something against the Most High. Understand? So, for instance, a fornicator would be a man taking a next man's wife, who's also known as an adulterer. Understand? Or you would go against the Most High by being a fornicator or being with another god.
Right.
So these are the kind of things you cannot do. Fornication could go into you doing all kind of weird sexual things that are not lawful, or operating and doing practices that are against the Most High. So these are the kind of things that you cannot do. You can't be celebrating Christmas and Easter and Eid al-Fitr and Diwali and all these kind of different practices. That's a fornication against the Most High. These are the things that you are not supposed to do as a Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man.
Right.
Continue.
God. No idolaters.
Idolater or idolatry is worshiping another god. If you put in anything above or worshiping anything above the Most High God, that is an idol. Caesar Borgia, White Christ is an idol. Islam, Rastafari, Egyptology. Those who worship in the sun, those who worship in plants,
Right.
those who worship in the many gods hand, the many hand gods, those who worship in nature, those who are atheists. Because an atheist is idolater. You understand? You're saying you don't believe in no God, but really and truly, you believe in yourself. You make yourself an idol. That's what's going on.
Right.
You think you is your own God. And that's the irony of it. And that is the whole psychosis. You understand? That these other nations try to infiltrate and put into the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian community.
Right.
And they do that in every way possible, whether through social media, whether through interaction in schools, whether it be on work, whether it be through the holidays. They try every single thing. Christmas coming, they're having Christmas party here. They want to give gift exchange. They want you to do every single thing possible. Look at something simple that a lot of people take for granted and think, well, that's a small thing. They stand up to salute the flag. Stand up to sing the national anthem.
Right.
That is putting your loyalty into something else other than the Most High. I pledge allegiance to the flag. To who? That piece of cloth? That system that has for over 400 years oppressed your people? Or you pledge an allegiance to that? Ah. You pledge allegiance to Open Bible, to Catholicism, Nazarene, Latter-day Saints, and every other alphabet name that you can think about. Now, continue.
No adulterers.
No what?
Adulterers.
No adulterers. Again, talking about men or persons, you understand, who break the law and who covet other people's property, other men's wives, and those who go are pouring behind other gods.
Right.
That is, continue.
No effeminate.
No what?
Effeminate.
No effeminate. And this is a big thing that they're pushing in the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian community. Now, it had different types of effeminate, quote unquote, right? So we can just kind of do a quick run through some of them. Now, as we know, they're pushing very hard LGBTQ in the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian community. Every single way you turn, every sitcom, every comedy show, every movie, you name it, it must have a quote unquote Black gay person. Now, before they used to push it with the so-called white man. So that was like the initial door opening.
Right.
But now they are aggressively pushing it in the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian community. So much so, when you look at cities and states like Atlanta, they have a quote unquote very high LGBTQ Black community, quote unquote, in those areas. You understand? And there's the assistance in place to actively support it, to ensure that they make weak Black men who cannot stand up for their communities. And if there are any so-called strong Black men stand up against that, well, the entire arsenal of the LGBTQ will want to come out to bury that man. Because they understand if they do not stand out this strong man, guess what? They will lose ground. But their goal is not to have the Black community. Their goal is to destroy the Black community. Because if you are LGBTQ, you are anti-Christ, you are anti-family, you are anti-Black. You understand? And even down here in the community, especially when it comes to the Caribbean islands like Trinidad and Jamaica and some of most of these other communities, are very anti-LGBTQ. But when you have persons of another nation ruling over you, who do not have those rules and laws, and in their culture, guess what? They will allow it. Right. You understand? And if we just, before we jump up to 1 Corinthians, let me just look at the law concerning homosexuality. Right? Where a man shall not lay with mankind. Right? I believe that is sorry, let's see if I can have, yeah. That is, let's see. Right, I look with the cross, chapter 18 and verse 22. Yeah, Baba Kusha.
This is the book of Leviticus, chapter 18 and verse 22. Thou shalt not lie with mankind as with womankind. It is abomination.
The Most High put the probably strongest word that he could put. It's an abomination. An abomination is something that is grotesque. It's something that is so unseemly that it's a destructive something.
Right.
It's an abomination. It's not bringing any value. You understand? So, just to get a little more clarity, let's do one even better. Let's look up the definition of abomination. All right? So, abomination. Right? Abomination means a thing that causes disgust or loathing.
Right.
A feeling of hatred. Right, that is the second thing. But the first thing, a thing that causes disgust or loathing. Right? Disgust means a feeling of revulsion, a strong disapproval aroused by something unpleasant or offensive. Right? So all the LGBTQ, XYZ, 1, 2, 3, you are a very repulsive people. Or it's a very repulsive act of being that kind of person. A loathing, right? Loathing means a feeling of intense dislike or disgust, hatred. And the Most High absolutely hates it, right? Because it goes against the very idea of life. But when a man and a man come together, there is no life. Absolutely none. But when a man and a woman comes together, there is life, plenty life that can come out of that. So if you want to live that type of lifestyle, then you are living a very destructive lifestyle,
Right.
a very anti-life lifestyle. And these are the kind of things that we have to come up against for Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. That's what we're talking about, being a good shepherd that will give his life for the sheep.
Right.
Because I will ensure that with my life, that my sons and daughters absolutely do not go into the LGBTQXYZ community. Because the same way, like if you have to be walking down the road and you see, you know, some dog excrement, I can put it in a nice way. You're passing and you see some dog excrement on your road, right? You will see it as disgusting. You will be repulsed. Understand? And that is the way that I feel, and that is the way that I will teach my children to be and feel about that type of lifestyle. Because it is anti-Christ, anti-life, anti the Black community. We do not want that in our community. We cannot have that type of lifestyle in our community. And that is no different and is the same level as pedophilia.
Right.
Same thing as child molestation. Same thing as drug dealing. We have the same exact feeling. So don't feel special in that regard. But these things are extremely destructive in the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian community. And it's against brotherhood.
Right.
Because if you see that any man in the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian community doing these things and you do not come up against it, then you are the problem. Then you need to be out of that spot. You need to be out of that community because you are definitely not helping the community. All right, so let's jump back to the 1 Corinthians 6. Abu Kushar.
This is the book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 6. Reading from verse
9.
All right. Verse 10. No thieves.
No what?
No thieves.
No thieves. And it have many type of thieves. Talking about people who steal money, people who steal men, women and children, people who steal identities, like how our so-called oppressor has stolen the identity of the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man,
Right.
pretending to be the Jews in the land of Israel right now.
Right.
Those who have stolen the culture and the language of our people. Those who are stealing the finances out of the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian community. Those who are simply stealing the creativity of the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man,
Right.
claiming that it's their own. And running the patent office and say, well, yeah, well, we invent this. But you can't wait for a black man to utter something and run quick and go with it.
Right.
And these are the nasty type behaviors that just infiltrate into the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian community.
Right.
And these are things that we do not need in the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian community.
Right.
Because why? That creates division. That is why we need to be so strong and aggressive against these things. Because these things only bring destruction to the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian community.
Right.
Continue.
Come. No extortioners.
No, it's a lack here. Let's start back up from verse 10. From
Come. Verse 10. 1 Corinthians chapter 6 and verse 10. No thieves, no covetous.
No covetous. Very similar to stealing. But this is a more deceitful type, a way to steal from a man. It's a very subtle, nasty, deceptive kind of way. In that it is a sneaky, behind the back type of way. Where a man, for instance, a man might come and whisper something and steal a man wife. Come and whisper something for a man to take an idea. You understand? You do what Anna and you only see another man come up. You understand? Then you go behind the back and keep that same idea here. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, if I may, it's like, the Christian Jesus, you see somebody else car. They don't have a right. That's how I say it. And I say, what bless them with
In the name of Jesus.
Yeah.
You see this house? I claim this house. That is a virtuous spirit. That's a perfect example of something. Perfect example. And the Christian church just do that every single Sunday. Every Sunday they do that. And every day that they go out, they're constantly converting, being covetous to other people's. Right? They're doing that with other people's wives, their husbands, their children, and their resources. That is what they're doing right. And these are the kind of things that destroy the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian community. You know why? Because a covetous man does not build nothing. All a covetous man wants to do is take what somebody else has, take what somebody else built, take what somebody else think of, and go with it. He has nothing in himself to create. You understand? Because the man stuff where you take it, he is the man who produced them.
Right.
You produce yours. Don't be a covetous bastard. The Lord give you the ability to go out, to be able to function and do and create. Do that. Build enough so that they can give to other people.
Right.
Don't try to steal what another man has. Right? Continue, Baba Kushan.
No drunkards.
No drunkard. Being a drunkard in the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian community is a disaster. You know why? Being a drunkard impairs judgment. It shows a lack of discipline. Understand? And there are many other issues and problems that will come up being a drunkard. Health-wise, you understand? Socially, because you being a drunk, you can become an abuser, not just to your family, to your brethren, but an abuser to yourself.
Right.
You being a drunkard will cause so much destruction. It's unbelievable. The kind of things that have happened by persons being drunk, you're driving drunk, you can destroy yourself and destroy other family. Run up the road, lick down somebody, crash into another vehicle, destroy another Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian family. You understand? You're being drunk, you get drunk rich. You understand? You gotta fight everybody. You understand? You get strong. You go and abuse somebody, you create a fight and all kind of thing.
Right.
You could damage, you could kill somebody, harm yourself. You understand? Then you go and get drunk and loose. You go and get promiscuous.
Right.
You go and cover that next man's wife or sleep with a whore. You could get diseases.
Right.
You get drunk, you don't know yourself, you could get molested. You could become a victim by your drunkenness. And that goes for both men and women.
Right.
Because outside here, there be enough evil. If you're not careful, you want to end up in that kind of position.
Right.
And this is why you cannot be a drunkard. And then you being a leader in a position of power to lead men and women, you cannot be a drunkard when you are giving advice or judgment. It will cloud your judgment.
Right.
So this is why we cannot be drunkards and be a brother's keeper. If you see a brother heading in that direction, you have to what? Do the brotherly thing and say, oh, go to him and him alone and say, brethren, you see. I realize you may have an issue controlling your liquor. Understand? This is the right way to go about it. If you can't drink 5, drink 1. If you can't drink 1, have enough discipline to say no. Discipline yourself enough that you could not make grape juice,
Right.
fermented grape juice, control your life. And make you spend money that you don't have, or that you need to do something else for your family and your brethren, and for the nation of Israel to go down being a drunk.
Right.
Or being a gambler. And that gambling is almost in the same boat. It's a very destructive thing. Continue.
Nor revelers.
Nor revilers. You being, a reviler. Let's just get proper definition of that word. All right. Right, a reviler. A reviler or revilers are individuals who use abuse, insulting, and contemptuous language to attack others. You understand?
Right.
And this is what the other nations do to Black, Hispanic, and Native Indians. Or let's cockroach, or let's pests. You see them niggas.
Right.
Or let's thinking dirty so and so. Let's kill them out. You see them every day on social media right now. And this in the history, you understand, of Trinidad and Tobago. Talk about us in general. When you're looking at all these other nations come up together here now with the political landscape and everything that is right now,
You're right.
we have never seen such outrageous attacks of racism and reviling against the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian community.
Right.
Our Hispanic brothers had it just the other day when our so-called oppressor basically chased them out at their land, and they came into Trinidad here, and you could see how these other nations abuse them and revile them, saying all manner of nasty things against them.
Right.
And now they're doing the same thing to us. And you know why? Because we are the same people. We are brothers. Black, Hispanic, and Native Indians. And revilers are nasty, abusive persons who use their tongue to attack and destroy people. Right? Let's continue on the meaning. It says, essentially, a reviler is a verbal abuser, slanderer, or someone who uses malicious words to damage another person's character and reputation. You see that kind of thing? These are the things that seep in from these other nations and come into the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian communities. And then guess what happens? We practice that on each other. You understand? That is what you don't want. And only strong Black men can build strong Black communities that don't have that. Because when you see a next man talking some off against a next man, they say, hey, we don't deal with our brothers that kind of way. You have an issue with him, don't be talking that reviling thing. Don't be abusing and attacking another man's character for no reason. You understand? If there's a just cause, go to him and deal with the matter. But if we catch you trying to manipulate, trying to distort, trying to tarnish a man's character and reputation, we will hold you accountable to it. And by you doing that, we see the type of character you have. So we will know how to operate with you, which is the important thing. That is why you need strong black men in a community to be able to deal with things like that. Because these things are subtle, but you need righteous men to see it. You need righteous men to stand up for other men when these things happen. Continue. Go ahead.
No extortioners.
No extortioners. An extortioner is someone who basically manipulates you, use something to manipulate you to get a leverage on you. So the meaning, I put out the meaning here, an extortioner is a person who obtains money, property, or services from someone else by using force, threats, intimidation, or the abuse of power. It is a broad term that includes criminals like blackmailers, mobsters, or anyone who wrings something from a victim by holding something over them. You understand? And that is what our oppressor does to the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian community, especially when it comes to the rich of Israel, especially when it comes to pastors. You understand? A good example like the Diddy files. You understand? And the Epstein files. They catch you lacking, they catch you with some kind of rust. You understand? And that's right, the higher for the higher at your coattail. Say, boy, in order to keep this thing here, you gotta do X, Y, Z, whatever we tell you, make sure and do that. Otherwise, you will put your dirty linen on the outside. Right? So Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man, do not be a lustful bastard. Put yourself in those kind of positions. Because they will use that to diminish your power in the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian community. And if you're a man in that kind of state, do the righteous thing. You understand? And remove yourself, whatever it takes, from those kind of positions. Right? Because don't feel you can't come out, you can come out. You can come out, but the cost it will take for you to come out, it will be a heavy cost. But it will be worth every single thing. Whatever it costs, it will be worth it. Right? Because your life, at the end of the day, as a Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man, you understand? Your life is for your people. That's what we talk about when we read earlier. The Good Shepherd gives his life for the sheep. That sheep is your community, your brother, your sister, your child, Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian. So we don't want no extortioners in our communities. Understand? These are the things that we have to understand. The politicians, the ministers, those who are in positions of power. Don't use your power to extort other men in your community. Don't use it to extort women for sex. You understand? That is like one of the most common things. You use your power, insist if you want the promotion, you know. I know you have a husband, but if you want the promotion, you better check me by so and so hotel, man. Let me take a drive. Come in the office and close the door. Understand? Offer this favor to get that promotion, to get the job, to get a pay raise. There's a vile extortion. Or you're using someone's weakness, or not just sometimes the people or men would extort you, not just for money, but some person will just extort you just to have power over you. Sure. They didn't want nothing from you, but they just want to know that they have power over you. Sure. And they will use sometimes your poverty to extort you. That is what a war oppressor does. He uses our poverty to extort blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. These other nations learn these things, try to use these same tactics against blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. Okay, you know you're poor, you know you want some money, we're trying to build. All right, well, I want you to do this for an address. You understand? Go and say, well, you know, I support the LGBTQ. Say again? Yeah, kiss our next man on camera. You understand? And I remember it's really funny you say this thing to him because you understand, Officer Maka, because I remember the general and them talking about this singer, Lil Nas X. We now jump out. Started hot and sweaty. Come on. Brother, come out a real good song. And the general watch trying and he was explaining how he just flipped to this so-called LGBTQ. You understand? Lifestyle. And what the general brought up was so heavy. He said that basically Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian men, because they're trying to make it, you will have to act gay. You have to act gay just to be able to make it outside here. I want you to watch how on all social media, especially, even those who doing their own little thing, the only how they're going to be quote unquote funny is when they're acting like a woman. Or they're doing some kind of weird stuff like what you say, kissing the next man or, you know, touching the next man and all these kind of suspect and effeminate things. You had to be some kind of effeminate to get attention. So like you're going.
Yeah, just like bring back people believe this that has to do something to be displeased, you know, and it's no different from in the past.
That's right.
That's right. We have history that shows we the same thing, right? It had a man before that, right? They wanted to pretend he did more.
Perfect.
So they wanted to pretend he did more so that our persons would follow and would equal.
That's right.
Even if you have to act gay, pretend again,
That's it.
you understand what I'm saying? Pretend you like the same sex.
That's right.
As long as you do this to misleading people,
That's right.
that's how you will be able to send people. That's the same thing they did with 2 times, same thing with the
Same thing they have. That is a perfect example. Perfect example. You understand? And that is a very powerful and strong point of view of Samaka because this society will do anything to destroy strong black men. And that is one of the key things that it is used to destroy black men and the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian community. You get one person, quote unquote, that is influential, they get them now to sway the rest of the community. And this is why we are so disgusted by the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian pastors, preachers, and leaders, because they are the ones who influence the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian community. Those who are the singers and sportsmen and sportswomen, they are the ones that are influential, in the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian community. And they are the ones who are the targets for the oppressor. That is why in the ISUPK and the Commanding General, we breed strong men here. We don't bring weak or bring up weak men. Weak men cannot stay in these ranks. Cannot. They will not survive. Right. Only the fittest and the fittest will survive. And that's what they need to bring strong black communities. That is a natural circle of life. That the strong will live, the weak will die. The difference in the ISUPK and the Commanding General, the difference with the nation of Israel is that we take care of the weak ones and build them up. You understand? We build them up. And we will teach our people the right way to be, and the right way to act, the right way to speak, and the right way to build the community. Right? Salakia, if you just go read a little more, Babu Kosha. No, Salakia. Yeah, let's continue to read out. You can read over verse 10.
Verse 10.
Yeah, continue from there.
Verse 1 Corinthians chapter 6. Nor thieves,
Mhm.
nor covetous, nor drunkards, nor extortioners
Yep.
shall inherit the kingdom of the Most High.
Go ahead.
Verse 11. And such will some of you.
That's right. Salakia. No, sorry. Go ahead. Finish reading and then we'll go from there. Go ahead.
Verse 11. And such will some of you, but ye are washed, but ye are sanctified, but ye are justified in the name of the Lord, our Shah, and by the Spirit of God.
It's a beautiful. If you know how powerful that passage of scripture is. Now, after this long list of things that we should not be in the Black, Hispanic, and Native community, you understand? The Most High gave us a chance to change. And we see it right here. Verse 11 says, and such were some of you. And that is absolutely important. Absolutely important to know that no matter where you are right now, you understand? But when you look into the ISUPK under commanding General Yahana, we were in the world. We are guilty of some of these same things that are listed here. But guess what? We are no longer those type of men. We are no longer those type of women. Because as Paul rightfully said, and such were some of you, but ye are washed, but ye are sanctified, but ye are justified in the name of our Lord Jesus and by the Spirit of our God. Because when you come into this school, you will not be doing those kind of things. You will not be a murderer, you will not be a thief, you will not be an adulterer, you will not be an abuser of yourself, you will not be an extortioner, because we build strong men and women inside you who will not do those things and who will continue to build strong Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian communities and will express the brotherhood that is necessary and absolutely needed in the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian community. Right. You understand? Just continue one more down.
Verse 11, verse 12.
Mm-hmm.
All things are lawful unto me,
Mm-hmm.
but all things are not expedient. All things are lawful for me, but I will not walk under the power of him.
You understand? So Paul is just basically letting us know. He said, all things are lawful to me. That does not mean you're going to be a murderer. Does not mean that you're going to want to eat anything you want, pork, crab, lobster, and shrimp. He's just letting you know all things that are lawful is lawful to him to do. But that does not mean that he will do everything. You understand? It's lawful to eat cow, but that doesn't mean that you're going to be a glutton. You understand? That means you're going to have discipline in how you're conducting yourself within the law. Same thing with drinking. It's lawful to drink, but you could drink. You drink enough that you can be able to control yourself. Understand? And that goes for a lot of different things within the law. You understand? There need to be a level of self-control, even though this thing is lawful, because you can still find yourself, you understand, breaking the law if you do not conduct yourself. Understand? They say you can eat, don't be a glutton. Don't be a drunkard. You understand? Do not go beyond where you're supposed to be. Be disciplined. Be a brother. You understand? Be disciplined enough to control your liquor so that your brother can see that example. and not be a drunkard. It's in now. This brother here, you understand? This brother has discipline when he drinks. You understand? Scripture talk about if you're given to meat or given to eat, put a knife by your throat. You understand? Because these things can put you in trouble. Going in a business something then. Yeah, boy. Start going on. You understand? Start diving. You understand? No, don't do that. Because people that cannot be where you could be manipulated by that. You understand? Learn to have some decorum. Learn to have some discipline. Learn to have respect. Don't be respecter persons. You understand? These are the things that are necessary in the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian community. All these things are essentially necessary for you to be able to function. Right? So I'm going to touch on a few more things, you know, that are necessary to keep the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian community intact. Right? Let's go to Hosea 4:6. Because in order for any successful community to be developed, there is a very important thing that needs to be put in place. Understand? And this is necessary in building a proper community. And in order for that, the community has to have one vision. One vision. One mission. Anytime there is division in a community, that's where the problem is. What?
This is the book of Hosea, chapter 4 and verse 6. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge.
My people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. Because we don't understand who we are as a people, to build a community will be difficult. So the first step you need to be able to build a strong Black, Hispanic, Native Indian community is for us to have the knowledge of who we are. That's what we do in the ISUPK and the Command in General. We in here, we don't throw away our wives. A man can have more than one wife, and we do not throw away our wives. We do not leave one to take another. The Christian churches do that. You can throw away your wife to get the next one, or a divorce. Because all that fall out of love. You ain't like how she cooking. Madness. You ain't 15 years we together, you ain't married, man. Madness. All that done has 6 children. Build a house. And you leaving a man because he buy a ring for you? Because the pastor say all the other married? Madness. These are the kind of things that come against. And where we are as a people, because we lack knowledge and the wisdom of the Most High, by our leaders, we continue to go down that slippery slope. And they allow the wolves to come into our communities. These other nations to come into our communities and destroy our communities, destroy the Black businesses, destroy by taking economic strength out of our communities. And our people perish because of our lack of knowledge. Lack of knowledge of ourselves, lack of knowledge of who we are, lack of knowledge of the God that we're supposed to save. Right? Lack of knowledge of being a brother. These are the things that destroy the Black community. But having the right vision, having the right knowledge that we distribute in the ISUPK and the Command in General hand, that is what is necessary. Yeah, that is what is absolutely necessary here in the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian community. And that is what we teach here. We teach the wisdom, we teach the knowledge, we teach the understanding of this book called the Bible, which is the history of Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. Right? That is who we are. Right, drop that Hosea and just give me Proverbs 29 and 18.
To the book of Proverbs, chapter 29, and verse 18. Where there is no vision.
Where there is no what?
No vision.
No vision. Go ahead.
The people perish.
The people perish. Because our leaders are blind, because our leaders placate to their oppressor, to our oppressor, our community has no vision. Nobody to hold a mantle to build a strong black community. To see how we're going on. You see this? This will not happen here again. No drugs, no child molestation, no prostitution. This has to end now. But only one people have that vision. That is the ISUPK under Commandant General Yam. We have that vision to build a strong black community by building strong black men who will build strong black families, who will build strong black communities. We have that vision. And every black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man needs to come into the ISUPK under Commandant General Yahana and come in class, sit down, and learn. But that is what we did. That is why we no longer are drug dealers. That is why we are no longer murderers. That is why we are no longer covetous and thieves and abusers of ourselves and adulterers. That is why we do not commit crimes against humanity like these other nations do. It's very easy to label us, Black, Hispanic, and Native Indians, with all kinds of labels. And these labels are brought onto us because why? The oppression of the other nations. How can you put drugs in a community and destroy their businesses and then say they're lazy and they're good for nothing? And you are systematically erasing every opportunity that they have to move forward and raise family. They push, abortion in our communities. They push child maintenance. They push, okay, if you had to get Section 8, you had to get food grant from the government, the husband had to come out of your house. Where the hell you seeing that? Which other nation, which other group you're seeing that this thing happening to? And you know what's so funny? The so-called Jewish man community, them getting the same grants with their families, with their fathers and actually they're getting more. They are encouraged to have more children to get more grants and get more free assistance from the government. But yet you are telling our people that the husband had to leave the house. But if you are a strong black man in that community, we will say, yeah, keep all your blasted money. You know why? Because we are strong as a community to take care of our own. That is what needs to happen. We are not going to marry into the other nations. We are going to marry our sisters and not get caught up and not get blackmailed or get extorted by these other nations. You understand? From our inheritance. That's not going to happen. And that could only happen when you have strong black men to do that. Continue. That was the whole verse? Read it over from me to Bible.
Proverbs chapter 29 verse 18. Where there is no vision, people perish.
Where there is no vision, the people perish.
But he that keepeth the law, happy is he.
And he that what?
He that keepeth the law, happy is he.
And he will be happy because why? The law will give you that vision that you need. It's clear. The Most High tell us, don't eat pork, crab, lobster, and shrimp. Don't be murderers. Don't be homosexuals. Don't be abusers of yourselves. Don't be drunkards. So that you can clearly see how you need to be, how to run your community, how to be a strong Black, Hispanic, Native Indian. So now these men can come together and guide the community teach the young men, teach the young women, teach their wives, and be a pillar of strength for the community. You know, long time we used to say, well, they're old heads. You understand? The old heads of the community would come together and they would teach the young men how to function, how to take care of the family, teach them how to trade, teach them how to function, and how to conduct themselves. When a young boy started smelling himself, a young boy feel like P14, as we would say. They say, hey, young boy, come in. We teach you how to be a man. But when you lock up our men, our brothers, when you lock up the fathers and incarcerate them, give them drugs that come out of mind, right? These men become weak men. They become weak by following the other nations and becoming pastors and evangelists and extortioners, or we become weak by lust and we end up in the prison, or become weak by some other lust and it destroys our body and our mind. We cannot afford for this to take place in the Black Hispanic and Indian community. And that is what destroys us as a people. So where there is no vision, you cannot build a strong community. And we need one other thing. But there are many things, but this is another key thing that is important for Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian community, right? That is endurance. Because this is not for the weak. This is not for the short term. This is for life. And you have to be able to endure hardship, right? Babu Shafi, give me 1 Peter, I believe 1:25. And the Most High is building strong Black men here in the ICPK and the Commanding General. And we're going to show you in the scriptures what kind of men are being built in the ICPK and the Commanding General.
It's the book of 1 Peter, chapter 1 and verse 25. But the word of the Most High is endureth. And this is the word which by the gospel is preached unto you.
And this is the kind of thing that is necessary, because we as Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian men understand the word of the Most High. And because we understand the word of the Most High, that is necessary to build us. You understand? Drop that and they will bring Babu Gasha. Let's see, it's 1 Corinthians. One second. Right, sorry, 2 Timothy. I want 2 Timothy chapter 2 and verse 3.
It's the word of 2 Timothy chapter 2 and verse 3. Now therefore, endure hardness as a good soldier of Yahushua.
Endure what?
Endure hardness as a good soldier of Yahushua.
And that is absolutely important. So here's what, right? Babu Kasha. Let me start at verse 1. These few scriptures here is the pivotal part of when you are a priest of the Lord. You understand, to be able to go through what is necessary to build you as a strong Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man. And these are the things that are very necessary and we have to go through to be able to be strong. So let me read it from the top. Now this is Paul speaking to Timothy, encouraging him and to be a strong Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man. Continue.
This is the book of 2 Timothy chapter 2 from verse 1. Now therefore, my son, be strong in the grace that is in Yahushua.
Be strong in the grace that is in Christ. Because this here is not for the weak. Being a righteous man is not for the weak. Being a strong black, Hispanic, and Native man is not for the weak. Because trust me, you will have it. You will enjoy it. You will have to enjoy it every single day. Because this society, this world hates us. So you're starting at a deficit. We are already the most hated people on the planet. So when you're born as an Israelite, when you're born as a Hebrew, and then you're born, as we used to say, with a pig leaks, you have it doubly hard. Because you have to endure as a man, and then you have to endure as a son of the Most High, as an Israelite. So you had to gird up your loins. Continue.
Verse 2. And the things that thou hast heard of me among many witnesses, the same commit thou to faithful men, who shall be able to teach others also.
That is what we do in the ISUPK under Commanding General Yahana. These priests here in the ISUPK under Commanding General Yahana, when oil is poured on your head, we have a duty, you understand, to do exactly what Paul is explaining here. But in order to do that, you have to be a righteous man, and a strong righteous man, a good man, a violent man, to be able to carry out this work at the Most High. It's absolutely necessary for you to be that type of person so that there won't be all the list of stuff: covetous, extortioner, abuser, adulterer. Oh, you cannot be that kind of man. This is the kind of man you have to be. You have to be a strong black man to be able to what? To teach other strong black men, to make them strong where they are weak, so that they can what? Go out and teach other men how to be what? Strong black men. And the laws, statutes, and commandments that the Most High put in our possession, we have to teach our sons that. Teach other men's sons. Teach other men's families to build a strong black community. Continue.
Verse 3. Thou therefore endure hardness.
Endure what?
Endure hardness.
Go ahead.
As a good soldier of the house.
As a good soldier. A good soldier is a hard soldier. And that hardness is not just, tough. This is not the white man's military. That's not the kind of hardness you're talking about. Of course, you need to be physically strong, psychologically strong. This kind of hardness is beyond what the eyes can see. This is enduring character assassination. This kind of hardness is talking about you being able to follow and hold on when nobody else, not you. When everybody else abandon you. When you feel, boy, I'm this dark hole alone. That hardness is when sickness takes you. Nobody else can carry that fear. This is when your family, let's say your wife leave you because you ain't the truth. Your children abandon you because you ain't the truth. Your family abandon you because you ain't the truth. You endure hardness as a good soldier. Just as a soldier is on the battlefield and you don't have the beds of roses and you have to fight for days on end, weeks, months, years on end, in the most hard conditions that could be. Being a good soldier is you being able to do all what is necessary and more to ensure that your family is taken care of and that another man's family is taken care of. The soldier right next to you. That man that's standing in the trenches next to you, you have to ensure that your fight is to make sure he returns home safely to his family. That is the kind of fight you want to fight. Not I fighting for my family. No. Fight for something more than yourself. Because when you fight for the man next to you, guess what will happen? That man will fight for you too. and both of you all will return to your families. But when you are selfish and you're fighting for yourself and you allow the man next to you to fall, guess what happened? You next. You know the proverbial saying, when a neighbor house on fire, wet yours? No. No, bitch. Wet the neighbor house, all the fire. All the fire next to your neighbor. Don't wet yours. Make sure that fire out. Because when that fire out, guess what will happen? Yours will be safe. So take care of your brother. Ensure that his house does not get catch on fire. And that is so, the psychology of the world is so messed up and so selfish. Even the so-called sayings that they have that seem great. It's not great, it's rubbish. And when you really sit down and think about it and listen to some of these things, all these things are selfish in nature. Where your neighbor house on fire with yours. No. Out the fire. Out your neighbor house fire. So that yours will be safe as well. And you will save your neighbor. So you wetting yours and you're watching your neighbor house burn down. How selfish you could be. And we taking that as wisdom. I tell you, this place is just real corrupted. And if you're not a strong Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man, if you're not a righteous man, if you're not a man in the ISUPK under commanding General Yohana, then you will succumb to those type of psychological and philosophical ways, which will just make you more dumb and selfish. You'll feel you're smart, but you're not smart. You will feel you're wise, but you're not wise. You will just be a fool and a tool for the world to use to destroy other Black men. And these are the kind of things that we do not do and encourage in the ISUPK under commanding General Yohana. Right? So we just see if we can pull one more scriptures. Let's go to 2 Corinthians chapter 13. Babakusha. 13 and 11. I believe that's it.
2 Corinthians chapter 13 and 11. Finally, here, be perfect, be of good comfort, be of one mind.
Be of what?
Be of one mind.
That is one of the greatest things on the planet with the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian community. That one mind, that will make the absolute difference. But what every other group, what our oppressor try to do is bring division among Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian. Once they can have us thinking separate things, following separate gods, have separate ideologies, and make us believe that we are not brothers, and make us believe that I could do it myself, and we do not have one mind. Your wife is saying something, you and something else, or they're not on the same page. And they plant that those seeds of division in your household and in the community and among brethren, they win. Because once they can bring all in separate mindset, that is it. Read it over Babakusha.
The book of 2 Corinthians chapter 13 and 11. Finally, here, be perfect.
Be what?
Be perfect.
So don't tell me you cannot be perfect. Being perfect, you know, you're lying. Because in these scriptures, it tells you you can be perfect. And our King Yahushua said to be perfect. Be perfect as what? As your Father in heaven is perfect. We are perfect men in the ISUPK here. Because why? We keep the laws, commandments, and statutes of the Most High. That is how you are perfect. That's how you become perfect. And you will not get caught up in all the lusts and sins of the world. Continue.
Be of good comfort.
Be of what?
Good comfort.
Be of good comfort to your brother. Don't abuse him. Don't lie. Don't assassinate his character. Don't steal from him. Don't be covetous. Understand? Encourage him. Build him. Make him be more than what he think he can be. You understand? Don't feel, well, you know, I could be the top dog here, you know. I your brother, you know, you have to learn, you know. You don't be like me. Let the man be better than you. Teach him to be better than you. Teach him to be more than what he could ever dream to be. That is what we do in ISUPK under commanding General Hannah. Right. And that is how you will get a strong black community. By teaching men to be better than what they thought they could be. And in order to do that, you cannot be a selfish bastard. You cannot be selfish. That is the only how you can be able to teach other men to be strong black men. Because it takes time, effort, and energy, mercy, patience, long suffering. All these things are necessary to build a black community. Right. Continue.
Be of one mind.
Be of one mind. We were just talking about that. Be of one mind. Say the same thing. Believe in the same thing. Do the same thing. Not 1 minute here, you're taking anything away. So they're telling you about, boy, I really feel that thing. So I hear what he's saying about rubbish. That just sowing discord among each other. Right? You understand? You cannot be saying one thing here, and then turn your back, you're saying something else. You can't say I love God, hate your brother. That, no. Yeah. Then you're lying. And scripture said the truth is not in you. Continue.
Live in peace.
Live in peace. Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man, woman, and child. Speaking to the men. We have to learn to live in peace with each other. Understand? Though we have the oppressor doing what he's doing against us, we have to learn to live in peace with each other. Learn not to abuse each other. Learn not to how to offend each other. Learn how to go to one-on-one with each other. Say, brother, here you see. I didn't like what you do. Rather than keeping that animosity and hate in your heart, right, against a brother, not going to him and talking to him and gaining that brother. You'll be a little bitch. As we say, the ISUPK under commanding General Hannah, no cowards. You'll be a coward. If you are afraid of conflict, you're a coward. You're afraid what? To go to a council? You're afraid what? To go there because you're finding what? You're aggressive? You find you just talk a kind of way? Or you're afraid you're going to lose? You're afraid to be wrong? Be wrong. Be corrected. And gain your brother. Because the longer you stay away from your brother, the worse it will get. Not just for him, but for you. Because as long as you and that brother are not on the same page, that is a breach that the enemy could use to come in and infiltrate in this community. Because you know what happened? Just a regular example, right? You know, a long time you go see, you go see the neighbor child doing something that's wrong. You understand? I know long time you're afraid if the neighbor see you doing something contrary, you know for sure one out of two things happening, or one out of three things happening. One, the neighbor come and bust your ass. Right? Two, the neighbor want tell your mother. And three, your mother, when the neighbor tell your mother, you're going to get another boss ass. One out of the three or all three happening. But now, you know here, I know my child, I know my problem. How would I know your problem? Because when this young man gets out of hand, when you, the one who you say is not your problem, and you're not going to correct him, because you see him thieving something down the road, guess what will happen? That same young man who you say is not your problem, but not your child, is going to enter your house and distress you, distress your family, distress your children, distress the community. All this so-called black and black crime and gun violence and all these different things is because these are young men who were not taught by strong black men. They were not strong. There were no strong black men in that community to reel in these young men to say, hey, no, this is not the right way. To put your house and your wife in order, to say, do not do this in the house here. Don't let them try and see this. Conduct yourself this way. Don't talk to them this way. Don't talk to me this way. Don't talk to other persons this way. To put order in the house. Because when you see these things in a community, it's disorder. The wife out of order, children out of order, and guess what happens? Spiral out of control. Right? So live peaceably with each other. Continue.
And the God of peace, and the God of love and peace shall be with you.
And the God of love and peace shall be with you. Yasharallah. Understand? The power in the Hebrew. Understand? The Most High God. Yahweh Shai, our King. The love and the peace of the Most High shall be with us. That is why, that is where the kingdom of heaven will be. Where blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians will be gathered. You understand? Under the Most High in Christ. And this is where you will see black love, black unity at its fullest potential. Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian love, trust me, will be the greatest thing on the face of it. That is the only thing that will change and bring this planet back to its natural course and back to the place where it needs to be. And these are the things that are necessary to build a strong black community. And this is why we say in the ISUPK under Commanding General Yohana, that we are not affiliated with any other group, affiliated with any other organization. Because what we do and what we teach is out of these scriptures. And we don't do anything else contrary to that. This is what is necessary to build us as a people. With that, I want to pass the class to the priest officer Makakoba. Here, so. Okay, no problem. Probably just we will have a good response on the video. Okay, we will see the next step.
These are the security announcements. We are the ISUPK out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commanding General Yohana. New rules for brothers and sisters. If a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to shed themselves of the word. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There is another 6 months in which the brother or sister will court each other. After 6 months, after this 6-month period, the brother or sister will get permission from the head to marry, tithes, which is a commandment. You can find this in the book of Numbers, chapter 18 and verse 21, and Malachi chapter 3, verses 8 to 10, means tenth in the Hebrew and is pronounced for Aishara. 10% of every increase the Lord gives you, give to the treasury department or teacher. Priest fund, free will offering for priests, not mandatory, whatsoever amount you would like to give. Upcoming holy convocation is the memorial of blowing of trumpets, the first day of the 7th month, Friday, September the 11th, 2026. You can find this in the book of Leviticus, chapter 23, verses 24 to 25. Remind Akiam and Abatiam to check on social media such as isupk.com, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and so on for ISUPK events and materials. If your brother wants to be a trooper in the school, then he's to start wearing all black, which includes black boots, like shirts, like pants, like headbands and scarf. And with that, we say Amadium, which is going to rise and face the east, and we're going to see the Lord's Prayer in the Hebrew. All right, this is the Lord's Prayer in the Hebrew. Abanawa, Shabbat Shamayim, Wadash, Ayah, Shamkat, Yahweh, Malakot, Taba'a, Batazak, Ayah, Aisha, Ma'aratisa, Hawa, Ayah, Bashamayim, Nathan, Lanawa, Wakam, Ha, Yawam, Salak now, Abawat now, Abawat now, Mala'a, Tabaranawa, Messiah one, Abad, Shina, Mayan, Ra, Kaya, Laka, Amalakpa, Mahal, Patapara, Yelanium, Ama.
The English word just said, our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Yahweh, thy kingdom come, thy will be done, in earth as in heaven. As this day, daily bread. Forgive us, debts, as we forgive our debtors. Lead us not into temptation, deliver us, evil. Thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever.
So be it. All right, people, they give the teacher one courtesy salute. Amadiam Shabbat, Amadiam, Barak, Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yasham Rakata. All right, we'll give the sisters online on one courtesy salute. Amadiam Shabbat, Amadiam, Barak, Yahweh Shamaratan, Ba'ashem Yahusha, Yadiamata. Class dismissed. Crazy.